Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Alessandrini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how's it going?
I'm good. Are you ready to talk about autocross for another hour and a half?
Is this what this podcast has turned into?
Apparently. I'm kidding. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was feeling a little drained today, but then I remembered we were recording the podcast, and I got this like burst of energy to come hang out with Tom.
Dude, I also got excited at like 3 o'clock. I was like, oh,
Oh.
get to talk on the podcast and hang out with DJ tonight. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good sign that the podcast is here to stay. Because if we're still excited, like 3 years, 2 months in, I think that's pretty good. That's probably. I wonder what the average episode count for podcasts are. Probably like 3. That's probably actually the average is.
People start one and then they just don't do anymore.
And then they get to like the third one, and by the time they get to the fourth one, they're just like, yeah.
Maybe. I hope.
I don't know. I don't know what those. I'm not sure what those statistics are.
What did you do this weekend? We forgot to talk about that at the end of this past episode last week.
I went for a hike with Christine on Saturday. I haven't hiked in a while because when we went on our wedding trip, I kind of like messed up my knee a little bit, just pushing too hard. I didn't want to let her down because she was so amped up for these hikes that I kind of probably pushed myself a little too hard. So my knee was not doing so well. It'd like spasm and stuff. So I went on the first hike in a while with Christine, and we went like 5.5 miles. And I will say my knee was kind of tired afterwards, but no like pain or anything like that. So I think we're good. Just keep letting it heal.
Is it from the uphill or the downhill or what?
The downhill.
When I was in Europe, the downhill was screwing me up big time.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I realized like my cardio was bad for up and my knee was bad for down, but I still preferred down.
No, I
Just
prefer
feeling like
up.
you're out of breath. It's like the worst feeling.
I can breathe heavy all day. I'm like over here like huffing and puffing with 160 beats per minute, iRacing like a couple hours every day. So I think my cardiovascular is used to it. But the downhill, it's just like the front of the knee, like where it feels like where the tendon like connects to the kneecap hurts. So and there's not much you can do to like unhurt that spot.
Andy Hollis was saying, like, if you spring your knee a little bit more, like, make sure it does the range of motion a little more intentionally.
Maybe.
So I was like, after the first hike, I was just walking around going like, okay, make sure it's like springs all the way down and back up, like nice and linear, like a speed trace. Like I want it to go all the way down and then like bottom out and come right back up. No hanging out in the middle, no like shocking it.
Yeah, I need some dampers on my legs because
you get one of those tattoos, you know?
Oh yeah, where it moves and it like changes. Yep.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna need a pretty trick suspension sponsorship for me to just get like coilovers tattooed on the sides of my legs.
Or you go hiking in moon boots.
Or that.
Boing,
Or
boing,
I'll accept that sponsorship too. Hey, I would be willing to do a certain brand of coilovers on the side of my legs if that means I get that like those coilovers on whatever car I own forever.
Forever. That's a decent deal.
That would be pretty good, wouldn't it? And I'm
trying to think of a brand you would do. Like you could have Tokiko shocks for life.
No, probably not Tokiko.
No offense, Tokiko.
I'm saying like they would have to offer like $6,000 to $8,000 motorsport shocks, and it's just like whatever I'm driving gets those shocks.
Oh, so like Penske, AST, Moton, and up.
Yes. Yeah.
This hike sponsored by Penske.
I don't know why that's making that noise, but I would be like looking like a cyborg. I couldn't wear pants either. I'd have to wear shorts all the time.
Yeah. That's part of the deal.
It's part of the deal.
Dead winter. You're in an ice race. You're in shorts.
Yep. And just because I have to show off my Penske leg shocks.
This is cold and inconvenient, but I sure do love Penske shocks. It's like a Star Wars machine.
I don't know. I guess that's the universal sound for walking at this point.
I kind of miss hiking, walking around. I've been traveling so much. I haven't been doing my walks.
Yeah.
I need to get back on that this week.
So speaking of walks, a little bit of a Wednesday update. Wednesday's our cat. She doesn't want to go for walks anymore. I think I mentioned on the podcast at one point we were walking our cat, And at one point, there was a dog that kind of like came running out of the house and like came at her at the fence, and she did not like that. And I sprinted all the way home with Wednesday, and it was like a block and a half away. And I haven't sprinted as a I don't know. It's been like 15 years since I went on like a full on like on your toes sprint. When's the last time you sprinted, Tom?
Oh, it's been a long time.
Yes,
I
it's
don't
been a
even
long
know.
time for me too. And I realized about like a block in that I'm like, my body hasn't done this in a while. Uh, so, anyways, the cat now never wants to go on walks anymore, and she's super skittish. We'll take her outside. She'll chew on some grass. She'll hear like the neighbor's door shut, like down the block, and then just bolt inside. So we're hoping that maybe she'll like stop being such a scaredy cat and go for walks again.
Hey,
Hey,
wait. So she still wants to be outside. She just doesn't want to walk around.
she just doesn't want to walk around, which was fun for me and Christine. We would walk around with her cat, and it was like it was moderately entertaining. But now we just sit there as she just munches on grass, and we just play on our phones while she's like just existing outdoors. But we keep her on the leash because she's she doesn't really listen to us, so she might just like
She's a cat. Yeah.
yeah, she's a cat. So like we have to keep her on. Like we used to have a cat, um, and she would just listen to us. We'd be like, "Hey, kitty," and then just like make a noise with our faces, and then the cat would like run over to us, and we could pick her up and like bring her inside. But this cat, she's onto us. She knows exactly when we're bringing her inside, and she'll just keep running away from you because she never actually wants to come inside, unless the doors shuts from the neighbor or something.
You should get her one of these GPS trackers. Andy and Jamie, Andy Smenegard and his girlfriend have a tracker on their one cat that goes outside,
Yeah,
and so they can follow where it is on the phone at any time, and it covers like a 3 mile radius, like on a daily basis. It goes
the
like a
cat.
long way, but it goes the same places and it just chills and then it comes back.
Yeah, Andy lives in a little bit more of a rural area than I do, and we don't we
Yeah, true.
so one time when we were out walking the cat, there was another cat that was just kind of like rolling around on the sidewalk, and we're like, "Oh, look, maybe a friend." And then Wednesday started to like go after this cat like aggressively, like to like fight it. And the
Push the
other
cat in the asshole.
yeah, I think so. Our cat was trying to like fight this other cat, and this other cat was like all body language pointed to be super friendly and like give me pets. And then our cat interpreted that as you're weak and I'm gonna murder you. So like I don't think her being outside would be a good thing. Also, there's a lot of bunnies and stuff in the area, and she just wanted to murder all those bunnies. I think we have a little bit of a sociopath on our hands. And maybe it's best that
Sociocat.
oh yes. I like that. So it's probably better that the cat stays inside. So,
Okay,
anyways, me and
fair enough.
Christine missed going on walks because we would always do this like after 10 p.m. So we tried to take Wednesday out. She got scared. We just let her go inside, and then me and Christine just went for a walk around the neighborhood. Felt like old people, but it was nice.
Get your Velcro shoes. No, you're not old till you go to the mall. That's the walking. That's
The
walking for old
malls aren't
people.
going to exist by the time we're old people, Tom.
What do you think the version of our generation's mall walking will be?
Uh,
Just walking?
Around the
Probably just
neighborhood.
walking.
Yeah, around the neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh
or like,
no.
or like, or like a fair, or like a car show, or there's a car show that happens less than a mile away from my house, like every Sunday, and it's like a decent amount
The
of
cars and
cars.
coffee?
I don't know what it is. It's just like the normally an empty parking lot, and then it's just full of a bunch of like muscle cars and stuff.
You want to go one weekend?
Dude, I was thinking about bringing my the cheapest Miata on Facebook Marketplace and like bringing it there and like popping the hood and like sit next to
I
it with a
think.
lawn chair.
And then can I drive? I'll drive your Mazda over and I'll pop the hood too.
Yes, please. That would be so much fun. And
Or
then we'll record a
the Bolt.
podcast. We'll record. Oh yes, and we'll pop the hood on the Bolt. Yes, that's even better. We'll record a podcast while we're there. We'll like make it a big production, so people are like, "Wow, these people are somebody," even though like we're not in like at least in that space.
Sure.
Yeah, but they'll think we're somebody, and they're like, "Whoa, what's done to this Chevy Bolt?" And it's like, absolutely nothing.
That reminds me of now when we go to I was at Grid Life this past weekend at Autobahn, and I wasn't racing or coaching or anything. I was just hanging out. But I was at Lime Rock as well, obviously, and I was just hanging out there because I was supposed to drive. And I drove a little. Anyway,
And then
the whole
cars.
lineup is either it's all S2000s, BRZs, and BMWs, and then Dakota has been racing the part spin Civic that they picked up like 2 years ago. This black EK, and it's like it's the simplest car for sure. It's the oldest car. It's just plain black, like no livery, no anything. It's just a basic like K swap in this little car. Dakota's raced now officially 8 races. So he's like, no one knows who Dakota is. But that car is the most popular car in the lineup. Of all the cars there, we have like 10, 11, 12
What,
cars.
like
And
people
it's these
walking
like
by,
gorgeous E46s with like wide body kits, and one of them was a drift car, and these S2000s, and then Andy's FRS, which like wins the races and stuff. And everyone's crowded around this stupid Civic.
I bet that
And
annoys
we're like,
Andy. On some level, I think Andy's probably kind of annoyed by that.
no, I think all of them think it's like funny and charming. It's like, what is it about that car, about those cars that make people collect around that car?
So
You read that?
Andy, yeah, Andy in the chat goes, dude, then the in the entire paddock, my girlfriend commented on one car, and it was Dakota Civic.
I
It's a
don't know
fan
why.
favorite. It's a fan favorite.
We got to find like a basic Civic and take it to a car show. That's what Eric Coutil is actually doing. I think that's the whole Eric Coutil couldn't exist if this dichotomy was not a part of the world.
Correct. Eric would just be another normal person. He wouldn't have any of the Instagram fame. So, not to take anything away from Eric, but Eric, let's just point out the obvious that you kind of stumbled into something here with this like old 90s Civic love that for some reason exists. And Ryan Christoph just posted just a disgusting picture in the channel.
That's
I
horrible.
hate that. It's like this. It's just the old Honda Civic with like the most Pontiac Ram Air hood scoop thing you've ever seen in your life on it.
That's 100% what that is. That's such a Pontiac hood. Gross. I'm gonna put that in the thumbnail on YouTube so everyone
No.
can see it. Oy,
Uh,
oy, oy.
so all right. Well, how was I also autocrossed on Sunday, and I drove an SSC car. I kind of regret selling my SSC car, Tom.
Oh, that was an SSC car. It looked really
Yeah.
good.
It did. It did. It drove really well. The 660 pluses, I think, add a lot of more like nose to the car, which people were telling me that, but I never drove. That was the first time I drove on 660 pluses, and they did add a lot of nose to the car. Surprisingly, I don't know. Somebody's gonna have to explain to me like how. I think it's just like a sidewall change on those newer tires. So like, well, how does that change the balance of the car? I'm not entirely sure how the rigidity, because it's like the same tire on all four corners. You think that like whatever change would be the same on all four, but I don't know. Maybe it needed a little less camber, so like the lack of camber up front like means that more of the contact patch was in play or something along those lines. I don't know, but the car was much more balanced. You could actually get it to twist on entries. Yeah, it was actually a joy to drive. So I reached out to Tamara and said I get first refusal if they ever go to sell that car.
You're gonna have a collection of really cheap little like shitbox cars. You're gonna have an NC MX5. You're gonna have a first gen FRS. What else is in there? You need to have you got the 8th gen Civic still. That counts.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. That is the shittiest shit box with the nicest parts on it. That poor
Yeah.
car.
Still for sale, by the way. The AI overview on Google says the main difference between the Falcon Azenis RT660 and 660 Plus is improved cap ply design for a larger contact patch, better heat management, increased handling predictability, and a refined carcass
Yeah. This is
for
all
enhanced stability and responsiveness.
marketing jargon. I think they just made the sidewall stiffer.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they like threw more silica at it or something.
We're just saying words at this point.
Yeah.
Tire.
No, silica is the stuff that makes tires like good in the wet. It's like a part of the compound.
Oh, is it? Damn, look at Tom over here, tire engineer.
I can regurgitate what Andy Hollis says.
That's what's happening.
I
right
know my
now.
stuff.
Okay, all right. I'm like, where's this coming from? I found it. We found it.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, the car was it was an absolute joy to drive. So I reached out to Tamra, and maybe depending on where CST ends up for Pro Solo next year, maybe I'll drive SSC for Pro Solos and then drive CST for the other ones.
Be fun.
Yeah.
One of my favorite autocross seasons ever, or racing seasons really ever, was I was driving a base Corvette C5 in pro solos and the 914 in tours. So I was like bouncing back and forth between like a stock Corvette and this like freaking badass race car 914 Porsche. And it was so fun, but it was challenging at the same time because you had to relearn. Like I don't think I ever did the same things back to back. It was like always something different. So I recommend that. I was talking to Josh Luster actually at Nationals, and I really like his he was telling me about how I want to say 2023 he said maybe, or 2024, one of the years was like a really rough year for him driving wise. He just sort of like lost his way with whatever driving um stuff he was doing, and it was partially because of a setup issue with the car that they identified much later in the season than they should have.
Mm,
So he was kind of struggling with driving because the setup was worse,
yeah.
and I forget if it was a bound up shock or whatever, but he went to UMI that same year, which is in September or August maybe, and he drove a different car completely. And when he got there, he had this massive imposter syndrome about even though he was the top qualifier for the class and like one of the fastest cars at the event and was in the ability to like win the whole $15,000 thing, he had this imposter syndrome because prior to that event, he had been struggling so much with. And sorry for airing your shit, Josh. Stuff, Josh, but whatever. I don't think he listens. he he was saying like even though I was in the running, I don't think I could have believed it myself. Like I didn't believe that I was doing a good job. I
Like
felt like there was
like he was still
like either
waiting,
it was the car or like I could have done better or something.
or like he was waiting
And
for it to like show him that, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I was doing better than I should have, or something. Like he was waiting
something.
for his like inner thoughts to be proven right.
Yeah, but this the whole idea of the imposter syndrome and the palate cleanser event came up. So I told him like I used to think this was like a somewhat fun thing to do, but now I think it's like a key important thing to do for your season to like plan these palate cleansers in to change the car you're driving, change the event you're going to, change the site, change the track, like literally whatever you can change and it's in your control, do that like twice a year on purpose. If you can do 8 events, make sure at least 2 of them are in something different than your normal car. If you can do 20 events, make sure like 4 of them are different. You know, like make sure like a quarter of the events you do or something are like a palate cleanser because I think that is so powerful for reminding you not only about yourself as a driver relative to the car you're driving all the time, but also just like getting yourself out of whatever pattern you're
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
if it's negative. If it's positive and you go to a different car and you have a positive experience also, that's amazing. But
But it
I
also,
almost feel like it's easier to end up in a negative pattern if you're
yes,
just driving the same thing and doing the same thing all the time. Go ahead, sorry.
yeah, it also like helps build the fundamentals, because fundamentally all cars, you kind of you do the same things. You just like the tempo and cadence of the inputs change, but you're still driving the weight of the car and you're driving to the tires. And by jumping in different cars, you're kind of like those are the things you're focused on. And normally, when those are the things you're focused on, that's when you're going to drive your best, anyways. So if you find yourself like, and this might happen and you don't even realize it, but you find yourself like in the weeds of whatever car you have been driving, and then you jump into something else, you're kind of like reminded, oh, these are the fundamental things that I have to focus on to like extract time out of the car. And then you get to take that stuff back to the car that you were driving. And as Tom pointed out, when you're driving other stuff, it helps you identify if there's handling woes or something that's happening that shouldn't be happening on the normal car that you drive. So this isn't like it is fun, but also I think it's important as like your development as a driver. So Peter Schnorr came out. He doesn't have the D Street car anymore, and but we don't have the CST car yet. We're going to get that next weekend. I invited him to drive. I invited him to come out and drive the Miata, and he said, "Oh, I can't drive." So then I was like, "Okay, well, I'll find something else to drive." So that's how I ended up driving the SSE car. But then Peter's like, "I'm coming. Hopefully your Miata's still ready." And I was like, "Sure, it's just as ready as it was on the last event. I haven't looked at it." And so Peter came out and drive the Miata, and he had so much fun. And I think that's absolutely the palate cleanser that he needed, to drive in something different but kind of similar, kind of like a little junky too. Like it's the throttle response isn't exactly where it needs to be, but I think driving different stuff that requires you to manipulate the weight in the tires differently it's really good for the development of yourself as a driver, and you shouldn't underestimate that. Don't get locked into a single car forever because you're not building tools that can transfer to other cars, and even back to the car that you normally drive. Like the low hanging fruit won't be identified as easily.
Yep. And honestly, we're in the time of year. There's probably still at least a month, if not 2 months or 3 months, 2 months left in everyone's motorsports season
Yep.
right now. If you have not done a palate cleanser and you're listening to this, like even if you're not an autocrosser, find an autocross to go to and co-drive something. Or if you're going, like find something to like palate cleanse your whole year if you haven't done it. I really, 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 really think there's a massive value in that.
It could even
Which I'm excited because we get to do some road course stuff in the next 2 months that's kind of gonna end up being my palate cleanser at least, or I think definitely yours.
yeah. Oh yeah, especially since I've just been like hardcore autocrossing for the last like what, like 2 to 3 months. Uh
Exactly.
I think also you can you know, you could do ice racing. I think that's a great palate cleanser because the driving is so different, but fundamentally the tires and the weight are still the things that you're focused on. But it's like way different. And also it's super, super fun. So hopefully we actually get some ice this year because last year it was kind of a big bust and there was no ice ever.
No, last year they had some ice, but we didn't go up. It was the year prior there was no ice.
Gotcha. So
But also, I was saying this weekend, like I hope there's some ice and snow because I want to do ice racing and snowmobiling this winter. Like I want to go snowmobiling again so bad. I was thinking about that this week
if you're going
when I was at
snowmobiling, I want
Autumn.
to come with. Did you rent them?
Yeah, it's pretty affordable. It's like I want to say it was 180 bucks for the whole day.
Okay, that's kind of expensive, but if I'm doing it with you, I think it would be worth it.
The cool part about it, and I know they do this when like trail riding as well with like buggies, you're on public trails with no speed limits and no real rules, and you get the whole tank of gas included. So
Lizard,
we didn't have to put fuel in them.
lizard,
What? What was lizard about what I just said?
lizard,
I'm thinking about how much trouble we're gonna get in if there's no
lizard,
Well, that's
rules
the thing is,
and
so you get to use the
it's
machine, but
us
you get like
driving together.
lizard,
unlimited adventure. Like, I
lizard,
mean, I think we covered like 160 miles. Is that crazy?
We're in
No,
trouble.
that's not
It's
possible.
gonna turn into a race so fast. Oh, we're dead. All right, guys. This is
No, no,
my
no. You're
this is Tom and I's last winter together
lizard,
because the lizard's gonna
my
win.
lizard, 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 lizard,
my sense of self-preservation was really high on the snowmobile.
I don't
I
know.
will say. I don't know what yours is like.
Mm,
You did dirt bikes, so maybe yours will be lower.
when I was dirt biking, I did have a sense of self preservation, but that's only because my dad made me feel like I was going to die at any moment, all the time, which was probably an effective way for me not to off myself. But
Kind of true. Like if you're on a snowmobile, I did 80 down like a really long straightaway. It was like I could see forever. And even as I'm doing 80, I'm like, if a deer comes out, I'm dead. You know, like I was like actively in the back of my head, not back of my head. It was actively in my like the front of my head that something bad could happen the whole time, which is interesting. I wonder if that's how people feel when they change cars and go on a road course or something. You know, is that like
what? Like if a deer
the
runs out,
thing
I'm
could just
dead?
like or like the tire could blow and I spear off the track at any moment.
Yeah.
That's not there in a car for me, but on the snowmobile, it
Have you
was
ever
there.
had that intrusive thought?
Yeah, once, and I scared it out of myself
Yeah.
because
Same.
I was at a Champ Car race, and it was when we were still racing my Fit before it was K swapped, so it was like the 1.5 liter, uh, really slow. We were not competitive. It was just like we were doing it for fun. And after like an hour and a half in the car, I was coming down the back straight, and I thought like, what would I do if I don't have any brakes when I brake? And as soon as I thought that, I was like, ah, no, no, never think that again, ever, 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 ever.
I
No,
thought that I thought that while I was driving the GT3 RS at VIR, literally on the brakes on the back straight, and I went, "What if I didn't have the brakes one of these times? I think I would just die. Like I'm going 160 miles an hour. Like what would happen to me? I'm like, there's no cage,
yeah.
nothing. I'm just in here with like a Hans device and like a harness bar. Like what are the chances that I would like just walk away from that? Like this thing would tumble end over end over end. And then I was turning into the braking zone and never thought about it until just now. But it did happen once, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's not think about that again. That's
Yeah, exactly.
that's gonna affect my lap times.
Because it's like looking at the wall. If you're mentally looking at the wall, you're thinking about what could happen.
Yeah, don't do that.
You
Don't look
you
at the wall.
yeah, you can't maximize it. You gotta think about something else. Um, Ryan said, Paul and Tom driving my car last year helped identify some wonky geometry so that you can sell that to the people whose car you're driving. True. Don't just let anyone drive your car on track, though. We've said that before. Kyle said, I've driven more cars this year than any other years combined. I think it was definitely good to find the weak points in other cars and learn to drive around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the people that are having people drive their cars, recognize that the value in that that you get another opinion on the thing. But then also, like, if you're running data, even if that person is setting the same times as you, I can guarantee that you're not losing or gaining times in the same spot. Like, it will maybe enlighten you into a low hanging fruit that you didn't know existed.
Dude, whenever I do a data lap or I drive someone else's car and I find out we ran the same lap time within, 1 to 3 tenths, I'm like, I have to see that data. I have to understand because I know it's not like equal the whole
Yeah.
time. Like, where did I leave time? Where did you leave time?
Yep. Yep. That's always fun.
And half the time it's like there's a little bit more entry speed for me and a little more exit speed for them or whatever else.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it's fun. This kind of ties into our topic ish, but I want to say this before. I was at Autobahn and I was spotting for Eric Thiel, which was very fun. So I was like
Congrats,
kind of
Tom.
engaged.
Congrats on being part of the winning team this weekend.
I would say I was the influential part of the winning
Yes,
team.
I mean, I wanted to include Eric in it at least a little bit. That's why I said team. But we all know that it was Tom McGorman's show.
He did okay.
Yeah. I mean, Eric was just driving the car, but Tom was the brains behind the operation.
And Paul Coutil,
Yep.
his dad, he was a massive part of the weekend too. And then yeah, Eric did okay.
It's
No,
okay, guys, because Eric doesn't listen to the podcast.
yeah, he'll never know. Um, so Eric won the weekend, but it was really fun to be on the radio. I called the green. There was actually, so I noticed watching the races, race 1 and 2, Eric won, but race 2, I was watching, it was basically him and Andy Smedegaard back and forth all weekend. They were like glued together for most of the weekend. And I watched Andy start to attack the entries like more and more and more and more. And I would say Andy's like kind of an entry speed driver.
Mm-hmm. I would
He's
agree with
like
that.
really confident on the brakes. He just like puts the car in the corner, however, and like I'm gonna figure it out. So I was watching him chase Eric, and he was like really starting to push the braking zones and whatever. But then you could see him like lose time on exits. So I kind of like I had that observation. I kind of filed it away. The next morning, Andy and Eric front row. Andy takes the lead, and then he drives away from Eric and wins the race. And he's like talking after the race and whatever, and he goes, I realized I was driving to the weaknesses of your car too much, and it was costing me where your car is strong. Meaning, Andy self-identified through races 1 and 2 that he was starting to attack the entries so much because that's where Eric's car was slower, that he was maximizing the entry relative to the car in front of him, but he was not actually driving the car like to its potential.
Like its
His
own
his FRS.
maximizing. Yeah, his own
Yeah,
maximizing of
because
his own platform.
he was losing time on exit all the time, which is where Eric's car was strong. So he's like, "Oh, Eric's weak on entries. I'm going to attack these entries." Started to drive the car in a way that was like slower. So he fixed that, and then in day 2, like he came out swinging in race 1 and won. Um, but it was fun also in race 4 when they did the invert, and then he got to the front first, and then Andy was right behind him again. I was trying to remind Eric, like, you're faster on every exit. Like I called him that, like maybe once every 2 laps. Like you're still covering him on every exit because Andy
Yeah.
would get really close on entries, and then Eric would pull away a little bit. And I was putting myself in the driver's mind, like what am I seeing? What am I thinking about as a driver? If I'm not that confident right now, I'm thinking, oh my God, he's running me down in every braking zone. He's killing me.
Yeah.
Because you can see that so much more visibly in the braking zone than
Mm-hmm.
you can like on the exit because the time like slowly compounds down the straights, but then in the braking zone it's just like, "Ah," and he's right back there,
Yeah, yeah. And as a driver, you're gonna feel like you're under attack. Like there's a fight happening, even though like
Yeah.
as you as the spotter, you're seeing there's not actually a fight happening here. Andy's never going to pass him on exit with how Andy's making speed for those corners.
Or even really on entry if you don't make a mistake. Like
Yes.
he was coming up hot in the entries,
Yep.
but he wasn't going to actually make a move. So I don't know that that actually helped or anything, but it was interesting to watch that dynamic between the two of them play out. And then try to like give Eric the little bit of like, this is what's happening right now. Uh, I called like halfway through the race, and then like the next lap they threw the white flag. So it's like, early white flag. You got this, you know.
That's
Um,
funny.
so it was a lot of fun to just like be a little bit of a support, but also just to watch that dynamic between them.
It's fun to be a part of it in more of a capacity than just a spectator. Because I've been in that role before. Even one time I went to Mid Ohio and I was just there hanging out with Kenton, and he was doing some like GT4 testing because they were like slow that year, so they were like throwing everything at the wall to like figure out how to make this Audi quick. And I showed up just to hang out with him, and he gave me a headset, and I had nothing to do with anything, but like I could hear him and his engineer like talking back and forth, and that made it just so much more interesting just to be at the racetrack and hear the dialogue back and forth.
How many times did he say the front end's too positive? The front end's not positive enough.
I don't remember. The biggest takeaway is that
Okay.
I was standing in the conversation like in between one of the sessions, and Kenton was like describing something, and I'm like, so you mean the car's too spinny, right? And he's like, yeah, that's what I'll use from now on. The term is that's the technical term. And then when he was out on track, he said, the car doesn't feel very spinny. I think it's good. And I was like, GT4 driver just like made a joke that I made. That's cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That engineer is great too. It's probably Eric. I know it was Eric.
Maybe.
Different Eric again. So yeah, that was my weekend. But our idea for this week is basically from a question from a listener.
Oh.
It has to do with driving styles, which I think is a really interesting.
I'll
Do you have anything else from the week?
no.
From last week, this week?
Nope.
Okay.
iRacing's fun. All right, you ready to jump into emails?
Sure.
Emails. All right, so this was a
This
question
is from Emilio, our friend from Finger Lakes. Not sure if this has been asked, but with regards to driving style, people talk about different driving styles, but do you think that there are drastically different driving styles between truly fast drivers? I feel like I hear people still very early on in their Dunning-Kruger curve talk about their driving style and what works for them, when maybe they should just be practicing universal fundamentals. What do you think?
What do you think, Tom? Because I'm I I don't know if I've really paid attention to what particular driving styles could be or couldn't be. To me, it's you're just trying to optimize the car and its platform, but maybe there's more nuance to this than I would think. But you seemed excited to talk about this today, so
Yeah, I love this question because I think you're right. In theory, like based on physics and based on the box we're playing in, the sandbox we're playing in, you should be correct. But that's not true. Like there's 100% people who have driving styles, and I find that like really interesting. It's almost like it's almost like if there was different ways to do math, but there's not, you know, like math is math. It's like black and white.
I
There's very few different variations on the way you can do math, but with driving, it's a physics and math problem, but people solve it so many different ways. That's why I
okay.
think it's interesting. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. All right. So I remember one time I was driving with Paul Darling, and I was only beating him in one place on the racetrack. It was at Gingerman, just in turn 11. This is a while ago. I bet me and Paul would be tied, or he might even be faster than me at this point. Paul, we're gonna have to have a rematch to find out. But and so, but all other corners on the racetrack, we ended up like a wash on time. But Paul was, oh, I can't remember which way it went. Either I was more aggressive on entries or better on exits, or the other way around than Paul, but it would equal out to be the same time between like braking zone and next braking zone, and like it just equaled out perfectly every time, but the lines would look slightly different from each other. And I remember having this conversation with Paul because we were looking at the data on his laptop, and I was like, the perfect aggregation of this is probably somewhere in between both of us, and that would be slightly faster than both of us are going right now. But I don't like. So maybe that could be a style, like your tendency to either push the entries or rely on like a clean exit? I'm not sure. Do you think that's what could probably? I'm trying to think of what the fundamental thing of a driving style would be, because essentially either you're pushing entries or like prioritizing exits.
Kinda. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I think about is your mental perception of the task, which is driving. Are you to me, okay, my driving style, I think I drive the weight of a car more than I drive anything else. So in my mental perception of what I'm doing, the most important thing that I'm manipulating or paying attention to or waiting on to make happen is where the weight of the car is, and specifically when the weight transfer happens, from the nose across the outside tires to the rear. Like that's the thing that I'm most actively aware of. And I've definitely worked with drivers who are most aware of the grip at the tire, which to me is more like in their hands, right? Like the steering wheel. Um, I've worked with drivers who have no particular sense of either, and they are not even worked with. I'm aware of drivers who have no particular sense of either, but they drive their reference points, and like the reference points push them more and more and more, and they like build up, some quickly, some slowly. So to me, these are all things that are your style is almost the way that your mind perceives what we're doing.
Yeah.
Um, and that that makes you drive to a different focal point, let's say. Um, to me, the focal point of the corner is when the weight rolls around the outside, and I pivot from, longitudinal braking to lateral cornering to longitudinal acceleration. I think other people pay attention to like when does the front tire actually grip back up. Some people I know, like when we had Randy Popst on, he talks a ton about like driving an understeery car. He wants to have a car that trends to understeer because then he can control everything and then have the grip come back to exit the corner. That doesn't work for me. I have no idea what that means. I understand how to put myself there, but like I would not want a car where I'm paying attention to when the grip comes back.
I
I
wouldn't
want a
want
car where I can
I
like
wouldn't want the grip
be
to
have the
leave.
ability. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's a driving style. There's a
Yeah.
difference in the way we're perceiving.
So could driving style be like boiled down to like on a fundamental level of the way we're perceiving this activity that we're doing? Because it's we talk a lot about on this podcast about having sub executable programs and having all this stuff run in the background to open up bandwidth for other stuff, right? We've talked a lot about that. So because these sub executable programs are running in the background, that means that we're kind of perceiving the activity that we're doing a little less consciously than we would otherwise. So, however, these programs are stacked in our head is going to change our perception of what we're doing. So, maybe these differences in driving style is just related to like the strength of these subconscious programs, which programs exist, and then also like the order that they're like quote unquote stacked in, and all of that stuff influences how we perceive the activity that we're doing.
Based on what I just said, I agree with you. Based on what I just said, do you have a gut feeling of what your driving style is?
Well, I think I'm very reference based, but also I don't know, like I feel like the way I've built myself as a driver is I pay attention to all the little details and then remind myself that every little detail matters and they all add up over time. And I've been focusing on just little stuff, a lot of little stuff over a long period of time. And all those things kind of like add up into significant sections of a way to differentiate myself between myself and other drivers. Whether it's something simple like just having good hand discipline on the wheel, like just being 9 and 3, having nice loose grip, right? Like that is something that I've focused on and taught myself over a long period of time to become just the way DJ interacts with the steering wheel, right? So that's just one example, and there's just like a ton of little stuff like that. That maybe it would be fun at some point to like list out all the things that I've focused on over the years. I don't even think I could list it all out at this point because some of this stuff is just so ingrained into the thing that I'm doing. Um, I'm not sure if I think that's why I have a hard time like narrowing down a driving style. Um, because I just feel like I feel like in order to actually be good at this thing, I don't know if you can necessarily like lean into a style of driving, and you kind of have to you have to like work the physics slash math problem to like its optimal nth degree. Now, if we're talking like driving styles of a tendency to lean a specific like side of that math problem, because I'm sure it's like the entry to corner, like the entry give and take to the corner exit, it's on a bell curve, and there's probably an optimal point on the bell curve, but the bell curve's really flat at the top. So you can have like differences on entry to exit and it'll equal the same time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there's probably a tendency to lean, but then I would also say that we should be aware of our tendencies and the trouble it can put us in and compensate accordingly for whatever those tendencies are. And to me, that's what some of the best drivers do is they'll compensate for known personal tendencies that they would have otherwise and try to compensate to put them more in line with what the optimal would be.
Yeah. I like this. Ryan said the It Depends podcast with Tom and DJ.
That's exactly what it
No,
is.
I agree with you. Because it is on a curve. Thomas actually posted the curve of like cornering force versus slip angle. Okay, so if I were to diagnose if I put on my little like, I play a doctor on TV I play a doctor on a podcast.
Hold on.
Lab coats on. What?
Raul just said something in the chat that I have to address. It might be a little bit of a rant. I don't have the train music ready. Do you want to write down what you were about to say?
No, I got it.
Okay. So Raul says maybe there's something about how drivers prefer to rotate the car, either with the brakes or with the throttle. And this with the throttle rotation thing annoys me. I don't like this.
I agree. Go,
Yes.
go.
I
Yeah.
don't. If you don't have the car angled by the time you get on the throttle, and you change the angle of the car with the throttle, the front tires still don't end up where you want them to end up. You have just changed the angle of the car, but now the car's wildly out of position to where it would be otherwise. The car, you can finish out a carve with the throttle, but you're not going to just like get the car to pivot and like face in the right direction and shoot off in the right direction with the throttle. Because if you think about like the physics problem of getting in the throttle, you pull weight away from the front, and then if like this like quote unquote rotation of throttle, you're just breaking the rear tires away. The front has less grip than it did just a second ago, and all you've done is change the angle of the car. You haven't changed like the positioning or the optimizing of the car or anything. And I see so many people run into this like weird I like rotate the car with throttle thing as like this weird crutch, but they're just not understanding the math problem at play when it comes to like optimizing a car.
Yeah. No offense if you've ever said this to me, because I've said it to people too. But if anybody ever says to me, so I got on throttle to try to rotate the car, I do the like,
Oh no.
they don't.
Oh, no.
We're still not. We're on the learning uphill. We're on the
Yes.
uphill.
And look,
we're on the
that's
we're
not
on the
the-
journey to enlightenment.
That's not the crutch,
Because
Raul.
it does work, sort of.
Sort of, but like and in the driver's seat, it feels like, yeah, that was good. But I think if you were watching it from like a top-down view, you would see like that the car didn't like spent too much time in the corner. Like, yeah, it's angled in the right way, but then there was like a downtime to when you could actually leave the corner because you had to wait for the rear tires to grip back up. And it's like, yeah, cool, we got the angle right, but like at all these negative side effects to like actually making a lap time.
Yep.
And I'm not, look,
Yeah,
guys,
that's an interesting misconception, isn't it? Because that's
and
Go
hold
ahead,
on,
go
because I just want to make sure that, look, we have a Discord, links in the description. Come and hang out with us.
get it out of your system. Get it out.
I'm not just crapping on Raul. So Raul, I'm sorry. It's just I see that misconception a lot, and I don't think I've ever talked about it on the podcast, but I've definitely talked about it like in person. And you just gave me the opportunity to talk about it. So thank you, Raul.
I think this is a fair way to say it. Rotation never starts with the throttle.
Correct. Yes.
If the rotation starts with the throttle, something went wrong prior to that, or something's not put together yet
Yes.
prior to that. So if you're a driver who perceives your ability to rotate the car related to like when I go to throttle is when the car starts to rotate, I think that's an opportunity actually, that's a really good point for your rant.
Okay.
That
No, that was a good way to button it
I
up.
no, no, because I talked to I'm thinking of Mustang and Corvette drivers. I don't know why, but like if you talk to people who drive these types of cars, and they're like, yeah, and then I get on throttle and I can rotate it. It's like, "Ugh,
Uh,
that's not when it should start. That because I was thinking like I drove Raul's car and I've worked like we've driven a lot together and he's very fast. I know for a fact the rotation doesn't start with the throttle; it continues with the throttle for a driver who can do that. Okay, so I'm gonna put my lab coat back on.
okay, lab coat's back on.
Your driving style, I think, is maximum minimum speed. I think that's the way like I would process your
Mine?
driving style. Yours, yes.
Okay.
You prioritize like keeping a maximum amount of minimum speed in a way that like if the car over rotates, you're gonna make it work. If the car no, the maximum amount of space you have to use, you're gonna use it. Like you have a very like high momentum, keeping the minimum speeds in the corner as high as possible focus.
Maybe
And
that's why I've struggled at autocross for like the last couple years and have done well on
well,
racetracks.
well, I've seen you struggle with that with autocross. I don't
Yeah.
think you consistently struggle with it, but maybe there's times versus me, like I say, I think my driving style is focused on weight more than anything else. And I think that actually leads me to like relatively low min speeds, but I think I'm really efficient at getting to my min speed where the weight, transfer happens. And then like I focus almost more on like longitudinal l- loads than most people, I think. And this made me I thought of this cuz someone in the chat said something about it's Andy with the Evo talking about Andy Smedegaard driving his Evo. That he said, I convinced myself I must be leaving time on the table because when Andy drove my car, we were a tenth apart, but his entries were otherworldly. And I think my entries end up looking like that sometimes too, because I'm focused more on like when the pivot happens. And it doesn't really matter how fast the car's going when that pivot happens, as long as it happens when I want it to happen, as long as it happens so that the entry and exits are maximized, I'm pretty happy. But I think you and I differ in like you focus on that minimum speed being as like maximally high as possible. Like I'm going to use all the radius. I'm going to spiral into the corner, like your
Yep.
spiral conversation. I don't think of driving that way at all.
Yeah.
And we achieve a very similar level of performance every time we drive, but we're processing different things.
I think so I think what you just said, uh if I went back like a couple years, absolutely. But what I was noticing, like and this is what I'm talking about, where you should realize what your tendencies are, and then uh make an adjustment to get rid of that tendency. Is my tendency would be to have a high minimum speed, but then it would delay my full commitment into throttle. And I feel like that's something in the last couple of years that I've cleaned up, where I get the minimum speed and angle at apex to be what it needs to be for me to actually be able to commit and leave the corner. And I think I've gotten better at that. But yes, that prognosis that you brought up, I have noticed that. I'm talking like 2020, 2021 era DJ driving was kind of caught in that loop where I would float speed great on entries and like the speed throughout the whole corner was great. And that would work for most corners, but some
Yeah.
corners would catch me out where I could start to get in throttle, but I couldn't actually commit to throttle, and my straightaway speed would be slower than it would have been otherwise. And then I would lose time because of this like tendency or this like, you know, I'm blanking on the word, but like like that was kind of like a default way that my brain was perceiving how to make speed. But I think I've adjusted for that, and maybe it creeps in here and there. But that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, I don't. We shouldn't be like trying to lean into like a quote unquote driving style. I think you should understand what your tendencies are, and then try to compensate for them to be closer to the optimal.
Actually, that's a great point. Okay, so think less about how a driver makes speed and more about the way a driver approaches the competition or the process.
Yeah.
I think that's equally part of your driving style. For me, I tend to start I especially now I focus really hard on starting at like a very known level. Like I don't drive the car taking risks. I don't I take a very, very, very calculated first set of looks at the steering wheel and the pedals and stuff, whether I'm on a road course or autocross. And that tends to, now that I've driven so many things, that tends to put me pretty close to the limit of whatever the car is pretty quickly.
Yep.
I would say first autocross run, first 2 laps, 3 laps on a road course. Then I overdo it and I start to make some mistakes when I start to actually like quote unquote try to push the limit.
Yep.
And I spend more time bringing it back to that limit, typically more than an event or more than a day. I got, yeah, more than a day, let's say.
Yeah, I think
So whether it was the Lotus at Autocross Nationals or whether it's like a session in a car and then like, I get to sleep on it the next day, I will have gone through that curve of like underdrive slightly, but probably like pretty much where I'm going to be, overdrive, and then like bring it back. Whereas I think other drivers have the like slower build, but my process has been the same the whole time, and it used to be like kind of underdrive and then like almost crash, but I was autocrossing. Luckily, I was only autocrossing, and then I would bring it back. So I like learned that my
Thomas talked
style is
about
that.
Thomas talked about how if there was a slalom in the start of the course, it was flat no matter what, and Tom would try to make it
Yeah.
flat. So that's
Literally.
what Tom's talking about. He's like, that slalom, I'm gonna make it flat. And sometimes it would be flat, and Tom would figure it out first run. But a lot of times it wasn't flat, and Tom would figure that out probably by run 3. So yeah.
If I just do better, I can do it flat.
Yeah.
Okay, run 3, maybe not.
Maybe I'll lift a little bit.
Yeah, maybe on the 4th run I'll lift a bit.
So I think we ended up similar as the way we approach a new car, where it's like you're kind of asking like kind of cautiously at first, and then you overdrive so it's not smooth at all, and then it gets down to like a smooth, very light hands, light feet like approach of like maximizing the car. But it starts off like, okay, is this thing gonna like kill me like doing the simplest stuff? No? Okay, cool. Let's play around with it. Okay, let's bring it back down. It's kind of like the way it like lives in my brain.
Yeah. I definitely know if I start by overdriving, that meaning like I've moved the whole curve up. Like if on a good day I start by underdriving slightly and then slightly overdriving and bringing it back. If I start by overdriving, I'm going to be a mess for a long time. I figure that out for sure. So I have to like make sure I don't do that. And I catch myself sometimes.
Knowing your tendencies.
Knowing my tendencies, I catch myself sometimes like I'm driving really sloppy, and I never had that like I'm underdriving on purpose moment.
Yeah.
Reel it in.
Yep.
Okay, so Taylor brought up an interesting part of this as well. Setup and driving style are a double-edged sword. What can lead to the most confidence can also be slower than ideal. Ooh, actually, that's a great point. I always thought of myself as like I cannot handle understeer, but I love oversteer. And over time, I realized like I would just try to make things way too loose, especially front wheel drive cars. And I had to like understand the difference between the sensation of speed and what feels rowdy and what feels good to me versus what's actually fast. Do you like understeer or oversteer? You like oversteer, right?
I
You
like
can trend a little bit.
Yeah, I like a good nose, but I don't know. Like, so I've had some people jump
yeah.
in cars that I was like, yeah, this is a good car. And then some people go like, oh, this is way too loose. But then other people go, oh, this is way too pushy. But to me, like, they're just not maximizing the weight efficiently as they could be. But I think that depends on like where they're at on their motorsports journey, but then also it might come down to like what their tendencies are. I do think Taylor brings up a good point though, is like how people prefer to set up their car is a great indication of driving style. I don't know exactly where I fall in that. Maybe Peter jump in and you tell me if the car was loose or pushy, because like to me the car felt really balanced, but I feel like if you're the one that set up the car, it should probably feel balanced. I don't know exactly how that relates to other people. I know in iRacing, the cars that I prefer to drive are like absolute death traps for other people. So that would make me think that oversteery is probably like what my preference would be.
Yeah, but that also trends to your ability with the sim. In the same way that if someone drives a car that you've set up in real life and they find it loose, part of that may be their lack of ability with that car at that moment.
Yeah.
I would think more. Okay, so I'll put my lab coat back on.
I like the lab coat, Tom.
Yeah. Okay. Lab Coat Tom says that I think you're way more in tune with what the car is doing, and you tune the car to what you want it to do,
Yes,
so that it's
absolutely.
doing what you ask it to do. Whereas my process is way more, how do I make the car do what I want it to do with my driving? So you're like either at least a run or a session faster than I am to make a setup change. Or, you're the
W-
first one to open the setup sheet on iRacing, or you're,
Yeah.
you're the first one to ask about the setup,
Well,
versus I'm like, what do I do with the car
yeah.
with my driving? And that kind of dials to the weight transfer too.
I I think like so the
I
thing I'm
think that's why
focused.
you're saying like you're way more in tune with it, so you're quicker to go to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I think I've actually got the setup thing, at least for me, like figured out. And I think, I mean, when I first started doing this motorsport stuff, like having the car set up this and that and whatever, it just seemed like wizardry. I remember looking at flow charts of like trying to understand, like, okay, so if I change this, this happens, and if I do that, this happens, or whatever. And I think at this point, I'm just focused on the input windows being as large as possible to have the behavior change in the car that I want to happen. So if the input window feels really small or almost impossible to get, like if the car's really pushy, like you can't get entry rotation, then it's when you don't have any input window at all, it's kind of hard to know exactly where to go with the setup. But if you're just focused on the input window and you're trying to make that input window larger, which means that like the inputs don't have to be as perfect to get the intended effect on the car. If you're focused on just that window and then you make a change, whatever the change is, and that window shrinks, then go the other way. I think it's literally that simple. You're just trying, you're like, when I'm on entry, I want this to happen. Okay, cool. Right now the input window is too small, or like like for instance, if it's really hard to get the car to like twist on entry, then that's a small input window to get it to twist. If the car's really oversteery on entry, then it's a small input window to not have the rear try to be the front on entry. And you're just trying to like open up that window for like your inputs to not have to be as perfect to optimize the car. Does that make sense?
It does. Yep.
Okay, so like I think that's where if you're making setup changes, that's what you should be going for. And I think if you're going for anything other than that, I think you're going in the wrong direction, because essentially it should be set up to be as easy to drive as possible. And if the fundamentals of your driving are, you're using the whole track, you're optimizing all four tires in entry and exit, or at least trying to, and you're using all the track in, out, you know, uh, outside, inside, outside, and you you have the bandwidth capable to know exactly like what the shortcoming is, then you make the change and try to pay attention if that window gets larger or smaller. And if it gets smaller, then go the other direction. If it gets smaller again, then at least on that particular setting, you're on like the peak of the bell curve or whatever that is. And then you can start like adjusting something else.
I wonder if there's some power to thinking of setup as, let's say, understeer. That's what you're talking about. The car is understeery is not as true as I can't end up in my window enough. I keep ending up understeering. I don't know if that's a productive thought or not. Does that make sense? Like the difference in, like, this car is understeery.
Yeah.
No, it's just like the window is too tight, and when you exit the window, it ends up understeering. I don't know if that's helpful or not. Just had the thought as you were saying that. It's like, oh yeah, I've never thought about it in the driver's terms before. I've only thought about it in the car terms. The nuts and bolts are making the car understeery.
Like if the amount
That
of
takes me out of the equation in a way.
Yeah, like if the brake pressure to get like some entry pivot and rotation, it has to be so tiny, but like it's in there somewhere, then you can like, depending on when, like what the bad behavior is, you could make changes to try to like open up that window. So like for example, when I drove Zach Lavoie's car in a spontaneous GLTC race at Gingerman a couple years ago. It had a very tiny window on
The
entry.
race just happened.
It really did. I was walking by and
It was
Andy's like,
spontaneous.
well, I mean, you remember this? Like, I was walking by and Andy's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, DJ, do you want to race a car?" And I was like, yeah, sure. Let me go grab my stuff." And then I got my stuff, and 10 minutes later, I was sitting on grid ready to race a car, and I wasn't there to race a car at all. I was there for work. That was
Dude, I
amazing.
missed that.
Dude, Andy's the best.
Okay, so these are the days. These are the days where they did the races on Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday was a fun race. And they Sunday was fast and loose, whatever. So we all swapped cars, and I think I raced Matt's car. Matt raced Robert's car. Robert raced my car. Andy raced somebody else's
And then
car.
Zach wasn't racing.
Zach was gone, so Zach's car is sitting there like, DJ, come race. You know,
That was so good. That was so much fun.
I'm happy you got to drive that car.
Those are like
Yeah,
my
but I
first
think that's an
laps
interesting
at that point.
perspective on it. Maybe that helps somebody think about the setup stuff because I struggle with setup mindset. So if that helps, anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, you're fine. Those were like my first laps in like 5 months or whatever, and I gained some weight. So I remember when I put like my driver suit on, I had to like really suck it in to get like the zipper up, and then I sat down and I'm like, this would be a dumb way to break my driver suit.
Boo.
Bing! Oh, dang it. Well, hopefully they don't notice because I still want to drive this race.
By the way, Zach Lavoie was at Autobahn this past weekend, and we had the best night ever on Saturday night. What was that?
That was the Zach Lavoie sound. I haven't played it in forever. This
Do
goes
it again.
this goes back to like episode 20. Zach
Oh,
Lavoie.
I missed that noise. Dude, he was on. He was in like full stage performance mode, just
Oh,
like
man.
telling stories. and
Ah.
he had the rest of us just sitting around like listening. It was so fun.
Oh, I
miss
love
him.
Zach.
Missed him. All right. I mean, I don't know if driving styles is not as a like black and white art conversation as driving in the rain or racecraft, as if those are black and white. But I think it's an interesting thing. Think about the way that you perceive the car. I think that's a really powerful place to end up mentally when you're competing, when you're driving. Trust what you're feeling, learn to say what you feel in your words, but then also be flexible enough to sort of relate what you're thinking and what you're feeling to what other people are saying, in the same way that when we're on this podcast and you say something like, and I ask you to put more words to it,
Yeah.
challenge the people around you to make yourself challenged as well.
And challenge
that
us.
you're-
Challenge us. Please, like
Yeah.
I mean, we have a chat that's booming right now. I haven't really been able to read it. But yeah, come into the Discord and like throw us some questions to challenge. Hey, what did you mean by this? Or hey, you said something about this, but like not quite sure if I followed exactly what you were saying there. I was hoping you were going to elaborate on it and you didn't. So please come tell us to elaborate on stuff that maybe we touched on and you didn't get the full picture that you were hoping for.
Raul says on the final note, it's almost as if we're trying to do a complex physics problem with hundreds of variables completely by our internal human calibration.
And our memory of what it feels like sitting in a computer chair in a house. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Hey, my chair is a 1996 Honda Civic seat.
That
not a
one's
computer
behind
chair.
you. Yeah, that chair. This is a 93 Integra seat, Tom. Yeah, it's fancy.
I did help Eric Catil pick up a new car this weekend. Y'all aren't ready.
Wait, don't. You
That's
better
all I'll
not.
say.
Yeah, you better not say anymore. Wow, you just started up a internet fucking shit show, Tom.
Yeah. Hey, if people are listening, that's great. Let's start some fire.
Make sure you bug Eric, like, so what's the new car? So he can just troll it forever, like Matt Waldbaum saying it was a C8 when it was when it was just a different livery on his S2000.
Yeah. That's so
Ryan, don't give it away. Okay, yep. Yo, honestly though, man, okay, Tom, we need to get Eric to come out to an autocross or something, and we need to throw Eric in like a not EG Civic.
What if you came down to Columbus and we did one of those Wednesday night autocrosses?
Yeah.
You, me, and him. I feel bad because that's like, it's 2 hours for you and not for the rest of us. But
that's fine. My job's full remote. I can just like, drive to your house in the morning. Yeah, I could drive to your house in the morning, work the day, and then we go. What would we drive?
Perfect.
Would we drive my Miata?
your Miata or his Civic. Like, why not him? He could just
No,
drive
I
his
want him
Civic
to
out
drive
there.
something else, like building, like
Oh,
going on the conversation that we had earlier in the podcast. Like,
yeah.
I want Eric to drive like Dan Howard's DST car.
I was gonna say either Dan's FRS or BRZ or your MX-5. One of the
Yeah.
two.
Well, the MX-5 doesn't have a. I would like Eric to drive something nice, of like rear wheel drive.
Why? He drives old Hondas.
Yeah, the Miata doesn't have a diff. It's like open diff city, and it's like it's actually every time it like spins up and then catches, and I'm just like thinking like I know the car's operating fine, but it just feels so broken.
This is the exactly what we were just talking about. You're focused on like, man, I wish I could make this car mechanically better so the diff worked. And I'm like, man, how would I as a driver make sure the diff doesn't grab
No,
or doesn't
it doesn't even
spin?
have a diff.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
How do I make it not inside wheel spin?
Oh,
We're coming at it from totally
Yeah.
different. You're train A, you left the station at 40 kilometers an hour at 2 o'clock, and I'm train B, and I'm leaving the station 40 minutes later, but I'm traveling 10 minutes faster. I don't know.
I mean, I have to just open up the wheel a little bit as I get in throttle, but that's less fun than just having it carve out on exit.
Yeah,
Mm.
I hear you. Should we do one more question, or are we?
Yeah.
What time?
We
is
can
it?
do one
How
more.
long have
We can
going?
do one more.
I'm gonna let you pick. I picked the last one. Dan, who asked that? Where did it go?
It's gone forever.
Shit, whoever asked that, thank you. That was a fun conversation. For
Oh,
me.
that was Emilio.
Emilio. Thank you.
I thought you were talking about a new question. Are you gonna read it or
Nope.
should I read it? Because I don't even have it up, so it's gonna.
No, I said, oh. Okay, well, this is a random one.
Okay, the random ones are good.
This actually we could kind of do a twofold. Okay, so this is from Clark. Vaguely related to the Spec BMW conversation. The algorithm recommended me this post, so I thought I'd ask. What are the best and worst pit facilities / amenities y'all have encountered? And Matt Busby also asked in a prior question, with all the events you guys do, what are some travel hacks you've found?
Mm.
AKA, or like, i.e., flying with a helmet always seems more cumbersome than it actually is.
Yeah, no, Tom,
They seem
spill
related.
the deets. Spill the deets on flying with a helmet because the last time I did it, it was I brought it in as like carry on and it went like above, like the seats, but it felt like such a waste of like a carry on.
It is. I mean, I travel with it in my carry-on, like
Like the
non-check bag.
How does it fit in the
So
overhead?
I stuff all my underwear and socks and everything, and then it does fit in the overhead. And if it doesn't, they have to give you somewhere to put it. But I'm not like gonna pay for a bag. Like,
Yeah,
they'll figure it out.
they always have. Maybe I'm flying on too cheap of airlines because they always have the thing that you got to stick it in before you can bring it on the plane.
I keep hearing about this. I have not seen this. Period. And I fly Delta and United. So if you're flying like Spirit or Frontier, maybe. But I have never had someone like put it in the thing, make sure it fits.
Also, my Stilo helmet is kind of like Chungus, like the shell is kind of big. So maybe like if I bet if we put our helmets next to each other, like mine's probably like an inch taller than yours, just because the shell of the helmet is so large. So maybe that's why I'm having more difficulty than you. But when I brought my helmet, like I shoved a bunch of laundry and stuff in it. But like the helmet in the helmet bag was the carry-on, and it didn't even fit in that thing. And I just made sure that like, hey, this is smaller than a normal one, and I can like put it sideways, and it's gonna take up less space in a suitcase. Like, am I gonna be okay? And they said I'd be okay. But it didn't actually, in any orientation I put it, actually fit into the metal cage that they said that all things have to fit into.
Yeah, I've never had to use one of those. But I'm like kind of one of those like travel professional seasoned assholes where I'm like, there have been times where I have like my backpack and my bag and my helmet bag. So I have 3 bags and I don't check one and I just walk through and make them look like they're like one
together.
and the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I get on the plane and I put them in, separate places.
Oh, you're a
like-
monster.
Yeah.
Tom's
Whatever.
face.
I don't care.
Tom is fully in his villain era right now.
Yeah. I also have this thing I figured out on Delta. This is like exposing my soul a little bit. But I realized on Delta, they let you board whenever. So as long as you board by the end of boarding, you can just get on. And they don't check if you're in the right seat or whatever. So I will like board at the very last second. And if there's any Comfort Plus available. I'll just sit there.
Oh, that is a nice little cheat code. I like this. These are these are the travel hacks that the listeners are looking for, Tom.
And as long as you're the last person on the plane, you're fine. But if someone else gets on the plane, the tension,
Oh
the
God,
panic, it's like,
dude.
please don't beat this seat.
Oh,
Please
I
don't
don't.
beat this
Oh
seat.
my
Please don't beat
God.
this.
I don't know if I could deal with that.
It comes from my Southwest days. My Southwest days are like just pick a seat.
Oh my
So when I
goodness.
get on the plane to Delta, I'm like, "Well, pick one of these seats.
I'm
Anyway,
I'm flying
all right.
for work. I'm flying for work in with Delta in next week, and I'm gonna see if I can use that hack. You know what's gonna happen is it's gonna be me and one other person trying to use that hack, and we're gonna be trying to outweight each other, and we're both gonna miss the flight.
I don't think anybody actually uses this hack. Like it's a pretty bad hack. Just,
How
you're
often?
just stealing seats
How
further
often
up
does
the
it
plane.
work? How often does it work for you?
I'm batting 1,000.
Yeah.
It's never not worked. Oh, although okay, it doesn't work on United because they come through like you're in kindergarten and they check your seat, so it doesn't work.
You,
They take toll. They or toll roll. They take roll.
oh
Like they go through this, and if there's a seat that's supposed to be empty because that person didn't get on the plane,
yeah.
and you're sitting in that seat, they clocked you. They're like,
Mm.
what's your seat number?
And then you go,
So I
oh,
don't like
I
United.
don't know. What did we have seat numbers? Sorry.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
That's
happens. Isn't it?
alarmingly close to
Yeah.
what happened. Yes.
So, like what, like you're so
Uh.
next level on airplanes than me. What I do is, like if it's no, there's not assigned seats and it's just like sit on the plane somewhere. I'll try to this is all like 165 pounds, like 5'7" of me, but I try to seem like I'm taking up a lot of space.
Yep.
Yep, like, oh, no,
Do the
you wouldn't want to sit next to me.
wasn't George Bush famous for that, where he would like the president, he would walk with his arms like out and flat, so he would look really wide.
I don't know. This seems like a weird personality trait to have. We're both
I
doing
know.
it on the
I used to do that with
webcams right
Southwest though. I would be like on the open seating flights, I would put my helmet on the seat and I would look real big.
now. Yep.
So it would be like you have to ask me to move my helmet or my backpack, and I look like I'm giant.
And then you try to look grumpy as well, or like, oh, actually, what would
Yeah.
probably work better is if you tried to look like really friendly and talkative, and they're like, oh, I don't want to talk on this plane.
Yeah, just waving to everybody.
Oh,
Hi.
hello, hi.
Hi.
Exactly, that would be great. But then,
Everyone's like, oh.
oh, that would backfire because then somebody's like, oh, finally, somebody wants to talk to me on an airplane, and then they sit next to you, and then they try to talk to you the whole time.
Yeah, I wouldn't tolerate that. I'm a headphones in right after security person. Like I don't even want to be looked at or spoken to after security, let alone on the plane.
One time, it was like a older lady on a plane. We just chatted the whole time, and it was a great conversation. Couldn't tell you what we talked about, but like
Sometimes
it was like a 2.5 hour flight, and it was like gone, and I was like, wow. Well, it was nice meeting you, new best friend. And then she's like, oh, it was nice meeting you too. And then we never saw each other again.
Ann Hollis told me this story where she was sitting. I think she said she was in like business class or something. So you're obviously with like more professionals or whatever, wealthier people. And she met this guy they were flying to Hawaii, and he ended up having this like giant villa, and she was with her grandkids. And he was like, yeah, you can come to my villa, and we like walk down this cove, and then there's sea turtles in this cave, so as long as we cross at low tide, we can walk over to this cove, and then or this cave, and then there's sea turtles there. And she just met this person on the flight, and then they went to his house because like they exchanged information. They went and saw sea turtles, and like he gave them like hospitality, and then they like continued on their vacation. I'm like, damn, what
What?
am I missing by being a flight asshole who like ignores everyone and mean mugs everyone in the airport? Like, how many sea turtles could I have seen by now?
Yeah. Think of all the sea turtles, Tom.
But it's crazy. Like,
Okay, we got
okay.
really off topic. So we were supposed to think
We
of
did.
like travel hacks. So those are all the plane
Or
ones that we can
best.
think of. Can you think of any more
Well,
plane ones?
No, I think a travel hack is buying a case of water before you go to the track and then having it in your trunk. I
Yep.
keep a case of water in my trunk all the time. I think jerky and cheese is a travel hack. Bananas and peanut butter is a travel hack. Um, What else? I'm not a big like phone charger. I don't have any hacks for that.
No.
Well, we got to get to the real question was about the best facilities. I was trying to pull that back up.
Oh, that's right. This is so this got submitted when if you guys remember, there was like a a tier list going around of like tracks like with the best facilities and stuff like that. Mid Ohio placed pretty low on that. Like, but it's better than it was like level with Gingerman, but Mid Ohio is definitely better than Gingerman.
Oops. Copy the wrong thing. Yeah, the okay, so the tier list is pit race is the best showers at a racetrack.
I agree with
Then
that.
A tier is New Jersey, Barber, NCM, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, which I've not used, and Chuckwalla. B is VIR. I think VIR is higher than that. Watkins Glen, CMP. CMP is lower than that.
I don't think I've
and
ever
Summit
seen the
Point.
showers at VIR. Aren't they in just that little cabin that's like at the top of the? It's like on
The
like
paddock.
the
yeah,
south end
they're
of the
really
paddock.
nice. Yep. Then C tier, Daytona, Road Atlanta, Buttonwillow.
I've never seen good
B
showers
tier.
at Road Atlanta. The one time I showered when I was at Road Atlanta, it was me and a bunch of spiders that took a cold shower together, and I could see outside while I was showering. So like that was the shower that I don't, maybe I picked the grossest shower in the facility, but like that was the only one I could find.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Daytona's probably fine because it's NASCAR, but Road Atlanta, Buttonwillow, I don't know about that. D tier, Roebling Road, E tier, Mid Ohio, F tier, Lime Rock and Willow Springs. I don't know where this came from. My favorite, I agree. Pit race is definitely the best facility,
Yeah, it was just the newest as well.
but I think Autobahn's up there too. Autobahn's showers are really nice.
Yeah, that's not even on the list though.
Road America's showers are really nice. That should be up there.
Yeah. This was made by the Spec 3 group, by the way. That's where it came from.
Oh, I think Road America is the best track to stay at. They have nice food for every meal. They have nice showers. You have space, so everything can be kind of quiet.
It's basically like a park anyways. It's like you're
Yeah.
camping in a national park. That's what it feels like.
Laguna also has nice showers.
Yeah, but that's not on the list.
Well, no, but it was just asking what's your
Okay, sorry.
best and worst.
I missed the question at some point, Tom. So
Okay, I'll reread it. What are the best and worst facilities / amenities you have encountered?
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So pit race is the best. I think NCM's pretty good too. Like hold on, maybe we just talk about like what makes a good facility. To me, it's when the shower has like 2 compartments, so like 2 shower curtains. So like you can keep all your stuff in the first layer of shower curtain, and then you can shower in the next layer of shower curtain. And then when you get out, to like you don't have to get dressed in the wet area. You have a dry area to like get dressed in. So like, you don't have to play the dance where you're like trying not to have your clothes hit the ground because it's all wet. Right? Like that's what makes a good facility. So like Mid Ohio has this, NCM, Pit Race, definitely not Road Atlanta. But like all those places, like to me, that's like the bare minimum. Mid Ohio gets a knocked down because all of their handles are like basically borderline broken. So it's either like boiling hot water or cold water, and you have to find the exact millimeter that allows the water to not destroy you in either direction. So
Okay. I think what else for a facility do I look in? I agree with Whitney. She said air conditioning in the shower building. I just think an air conditioned building
yeah,
doesn't feel super private. I think food that's not overly priced for every meal is a good one. Intermediate space is what they're calling your shower curtain zone.
yeah, an intermediate space is what's needed. I think Gingerman is just like community shower. I think it's just like a shower with like there. It's like imagine your like high school locker room where it's like a shower and everyone's like facing each other. I think that's basically what's going on at Gingerman.
I hate that. Matt asked, what is overly priced food? I think like a meal per $10 at the track is fine.
I think that's a little out of touch. $10 is way too cheap at this point. $10 maybe a couple years ago, but now it's like $13, $14, I think is in the reasonable scope. Nothing like that. Look, guys, before Nationals, we were hyping up the Afghan food truck. It was $25 for a meal at the Afghan food truck. Me and Tom didn't eat at it once. That's way too expensive.
Yeah, it's way too. No, that's terrible. No, I mean $10 per meal. Like, okay, maybe 12, maybe
Okay.
with a drink. He said burger, fries, and a drink. If I spend more than 12 on burger, fries, and a drink, I'm pissed. But I live in Ohio, and he lives in California, so I don't know.
But he also lives in the middle of nowhere, California. So
I think it's still the same. What else? Okay, for an autocross site, I think a same like the food truck / proximity to a gas station. Ooh, that's a good one.
that is a good one.
Tracks that are far away from gas stations is a big problem.
And they take advantage of it by having like totally outrageously priced pumps.
Yeah.
Like if you need to make a little extra money off of it, totally get it. But when it's like $8 a gallon and the closest gas station's 20 minutes away, like you're just abusing your clientele. Like, what are we doing?
It's kind of offensive. Like we're all doing the same thing. I wonder what it costs to run a gas pump at a racetrack.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm
Is
not
it
sure what the
truly a
math
way
is
to
on that.
just-
Busby, tell us.
Yeah. We're gonna get all the inside trade secrets.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's any other tracks that I mean the worst. What's the worst place I've been for a track? I would say Nelson Ledges was the worst when they did the drivers meeting. That was like, get out of your car if you go off, and then like check for ticks. And they had no running water and no like anything.
It's not much better,
was
I don't
bad.
think. I still haven't done laps at Nelson Ledges, just because their tire walls are just tire clumps, and I've seen cars barely touch those tire clumps. They go off after they like go through jumps, like in the grass. They're because it's not even. So like when you go off, it's like an excursion, and then I'll see somebody barely touch the tire walls, and then their car just ends up on their roof.
Doink. Yep.
Doink.
Inverted.
Yeah. like it's a cartoon. Like it doesn't look like it should flip at all, but the car just ends up on like crushing A-pillars.
This isn't positive, but other low point, High Plains Raceway. Very bad for bathrooms and like facilities. Sorry, Colorado.
So when we were there for one lap, they just had all these like little trailers and stuff that looked like they were kind of like abandoned there that I took like refuge in. Remember when we were there for one lap, how windy and cold it was? It was so windy. So like I just had to get indoors for like shelter because I felt like the life of my body was leaving my body. Like I just needed some kind of shelter. I needed to be warm. But yeah, that track's facilities consisted of a bunch of like trailers that look like they're just being bought like as people abandon them. That's kind of what it looks like.
The other high point, I would say Eagles Canyon in Texas. Really, really nice facilities, really welcoming, nice restaurant, good bathrooms, free coffee. I don't even know if it's supposed to be free, but I just always take it.
So Busby said, I just got approved for an invoice of 2,500 gallons of 91 at $4.36 per gallon. That's not including credit card fees or site maintenance. We don't buy enough to get a good price, and usually have to buy. There's a typo in here somewhere. Oh, buy as race vendors, so it's a different business. I think I got caught in the weeds of some typos or something in there. But okay, that makes sense that it's going to be more expensive just because of the quantities that they have to buy. But also that 436, that's in California. Gas is way more expensive in California than it is everywhere else. So
yeah. All right, fun question. I don't know if I can't think of any other hacks other than stealing seats on airplanes.
Dude, that is you just ruined the airline
Am I a bad
industry.
person?
Dude, there's going to be a whole little army of lizards out there like sitting around, and then there's going to be two people waiting, and they're going to be like, "Oh, hey, you listen to Lizard Brains podcast? Oh, you do too? Okay, we're not going to win this battle. Might as well just get on the airplane now."
It's the final boarding group, the lizard group.
Yeah. That's fun.
Just waiting for empty rocks to warm their blood on.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That's all we need.
All right, what are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, Me and Peter are going to Philadelphia to pick up his new GR86 that is already has CST parts on it, so like coilovers, header, tunes, all that stuff.
It's the best color.
But I'm not driving that car because Peter's driving with his brother. I'm driving Ken Huseel's BRZ with the supercharger that might be familiar to you, Tom.
Oh, you're going and picking up the car and doing an event while you're there.
We're doing
Right.
2 events, a Saturday and a
2?
Sunday.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I can't wait. It's gonna be so much
Dude,
fun.
you're going to like Ken's car a lot. As long as he's not on, well, it depends on what tire he's on.
I think he's on yokes.
Okay. It's so fun.
It's gonna be
I
great.
think you're going to, I'm not going to project. I'm curious to see what you think of. I'm curious to compare notes for what we perceive the setup stuff to be.
Okay.
Because this is the car I drove at Finger Lakes
Yep.
for the listeners. And now DJ is going to drive it somewhere else 2 months later. Probably fresher tires. That's about it.
I think it's the same tires. Were your tires dead when you drove on it? They looked relatively fresh.
Yeah, he threw them out.
Oh, he
No,
threw them out. Oh, okay, okay.
They were bad. They were bad.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I don't know what yokes like. It could be like Kumos where like they look like they're dead, but like they're brand new. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know that much about Kumos. Hopefully on the CST car, Bridgestones turn out to be the faster tire, just because that's what I'm used to at this point. Also, I have a little bit of a rumor that there's a new tire from Bridgestone coming out in the beginning of the year, and it should be faster than the existing tire that they have. So I think that's basically going to make it where it's kind of an easy choice.
Honestly, at this point, okay, they paid me for a year. Yeah, whatever. That was last year. I don't know why anybody buys any other tire than Bridgestone.
I think if you're solo driving, the yokes kind of make sense because they really are like, they literally don't need any temperature for them to be doing exactly what they should. So if you're driving like a lightweight car that's a little bit tough to get like some kind of heat in the tires, I could see where like the yoke, like especially like in EST, so like a bunch of NA Miatas and like old Civics, they play in that class. I could see where the yokes make sense, but basically everything else, especially if you have like a pinched sidewall or anything, the Bridgestones I think are like the obvious choice.
Yeah. I'm going to Time Trial Nationals, and I'm on the
Jelly.
commentary team, which is just, I guess it's just trackside. I don't know if it's even online, but
Oh, I hope it is, yeah, because then I can listen. Are you open for any data laps? If anybody listening to this wants you to go out and put some squiggly lines together.
I wasn't told that I can, so I'm not going to promise that, but we can talk if you're there.
Okay.
Come say hi, first of all. So yeah, Larry McLeod and I are doing commentary. We'll be trackside on the PA all weekend, maybe online. And then something else. Oh, I'm doing the like track tour trailer lap that you did last year with people
Oh,
on
dude,
Friday
I
or
love
Thursday
that
night, I
so
guess.
much. Dude, that was so much fun when
Yeah.
I did that.
Do you have any advice? Like, what did you? So, like, how did it work? You're on someone's trailer and a bunch of people are standing there,
Yeah, and they're just
like the
staring at
Formula
you.
One grid people.
Yeah. So I kept it light and made jokes where I could and stuff like that. But like really what I was pointing at was things that I'm looking at, like details that maybe wouldn't be noticed. Like so like at NCM, like the turn into Deception is like, you know, people consider blind, but I pointed out how the grass on the leading edge of the entry of that corner, so on the left side, how you can see where it's like worn away and then it like comes back into the track. Like that's something that they should be paying attention to because that gives them some kind of reference of when to turn in to this blind corner. So stuff like that. So you could point at stuff that you're looking for
Yeah, yeah.
on the blind corners of pit race, like something like just to help people be looking at the correct things as they're going around this racetrack. So they're not just like trying to just give them some kind of direction of like things to look at in the next time that they're out there.
Cool. Yeah, I have no idea how many times it is or how many people it'll be, but John Hunter texted me. He's like, "Hey, since DJ bailed, you want to do this?" I
Sorry, John.
was like, "Yeah,
I really
I'll
enjoyed
pick it
that.
up for my brother."
I really, really, really enjoyed that at Pit Race. What would be fun is
NCM.
if this trailer thing becomes so huge that we have dueling lizards on for trailers, and we can both have a trailer to ourselves.
Oh, and then like whoever's trailer comes out on top.
This is how people die. Oh, like
Tom's
average.
trailer is
Oh,
superior.
no. Like, so we like get the baseline results day one, and then we do the trailer ride, and then we average out the results change for like day two. Yeah, I like this.
Yep.
I'll be really invested.
You're going down.
I'm not even driving next TT Nats, Tom. I already decided. I'm just gonna be working on my trailer. I'm gonna be
You're
cruising
just-
around the paddock, just helping people find low hanging fruit.
It's not even, it's not even optional. It's mandatory. Show me your video now.
Uh, I'm telling you, you can
Hey,
break at the
You're not
two.
doing as well as you could be. I've heard DJ play Halo with teammates before. Y'all don't want to be on his trailer.
You don't want to make me lose. Don't be the reason I'm losing. Die slower. Damn it.
Die slower. He literally screamed at people, die slower.
They were dying so fast, I couldn't kill the other team fast enough. So I just told my team to
So
die
funny.
slower.
Forgot about that.
God, I'm a monster. This is why I
At
do a
least you
thing.
don't steal airplane seats.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
Gila monsters, both of us. All right. Well, that's cool. I'm excited to hear about your weekend with driving. You're driving Ken's car both days?
Yes. I was trying to drive.
Drive something different one day.
Well, I was trying to drive Amy's RX-8 because I thought that would be fun one of the days. But I don't know exactly if that will work or not. I'll feel it out when I'm there. I'm going to drive Ken's car on Saturday and then maybe something else on Sunday, but we'll see.
Okay, cool. Well, have fun.
All right, I will. Are you ready to end the show, Tom?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Well,
About that
I mean,
time,
we
huh?
can just hang out if you want.
We're gonna do that anyway. We're gonna go sim race, right?
Probably, yeah. Let's end the show. Ready?
Okay. Damn, I didn't plan again. Well, anyway, when you're driving home this weekend on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, I love your hair and I hope you win.